Governor, the circumstances are that the then serving director of the Russian service, Ms. Masha Gessen, tendered her resignation to me and made her announcement to the staff in the Moscow bureau on the 30th of April, saying that she had decided to take up a book contract. I knew at the time that she had several book contracts. She was under contract for several books, specifically the book about the young women singer protesters called Pussy Riot, which has been of international concern and which she has covered rather intensively. But she informed me that it was yet a new contract that she was intent upon pursuing, and the next day, her publisher, Riverhead Books, announced that they had put Ms. Gessen under contract to write a book about the Chernayev brothers, the accused bombers in the terrible Boston Marathon bombings, and that's the sequence. And at the time that she made her announcement to the staff present in Moscow, and we were on a video conference, a regular weekly video conference between Moscow and the Russian service in Prague. We also said that we would be prepared to speak to any member of the staff who, on their own, would consider also, if they thought they would, consider also perhaps taking this opportunity to think about their own futures, and if they had any thoughts of resigning or going, taking a similar step, if they had other things to pursue. I might say that life in the Moscow bureau is extremely demanding. It's there's a tremendous need for high quality, high impact, fact-based journalism. It's like any other newsroom that any of us have ever been in or nurtured by. It's a very, very demanding place, and there have been a number of people who'd come in who had encountered that over the previous 5 or 6 months, and we were prepared to listen to them if they would talk to us about their thoughts about going forward. And so there have been some other voluntary resignations as well in the Moscow bureau. And I've named a woman some of you may know here named Irina Lagunina, who is an 18-year veteran of Radio Liberty's Russian service, and she will be the chief editor based in Prague. And she'll be coordinating with leadership in the Moscow bureau, and I believe that to be very appropriate to the circumstances in the Russian service, because as the Chernayev suspects, the Chernayev brothers who were named as suspects, show us, there can be multinational, multi-identity, multilingual, multi-locational connections that are not just about the Russian service directed from Moscow, which I believe is inappropriate, and I've actually eliminated the position under Russian law in the Russian Federation. I believe that the Russian service needs to be located with the other services in Prague, because cross-coordination, collaboration, and pursuing stories in multinational, multi-location realities, which is what we're all confronted with in these days of when terrorism can strike under almost any guise and be identified in many different ways. We need to have that accumulated knowledge and that accumulated ability to coordinate and to help each other out, follow these stories, and learn as much as we can for our listeners, our viewers, and our readers. So I'm very pleased to say that Ms. Lagunina has accepted the assignment, and she is working very closely with colleagues, long-serving colleagues and new colleagues, both in Moscow and in Prague. And I will just finally say that a number of people who are very prominent journalists in the Moscow reality, which is as you said, Governor Meehan very accurately, is a reality which is under tremendous pressure from the regime. They have emerged to voluntarily say they wish to help Radio Liberty get forward and use as much of their knowledge so that we can connect to the Russians at this time via all the means of platform and of media that we can find. So we're beginning a period of tremendous intellectual ferment and creative growth, and we're going to see new content, new, if you want to call it products, new programming, new ways to reach people by these new, constantly emerging media platforms in a very important way for the future of the service and for what we do, all of us try to do in this work that we're doing here as well.
Let me just say, Mr. Klose, how much, and echo what Governor Meehan said in terms of appreciation for the work that you've done. For those who may be listening to this, they may not know of your distinguished history of having worked in Moscow in the past and your fluency in Russian and having also been with Radio Free Europe and the wealth of background and qualification that you bring to this position, which makes you uniquely qualified to bring order and progress out of what's been a difficult inheritance that you've had.
Just to say on the Russian side of your visit, Governor Meehan and Governor McHugh in absentia, the citizens of Russia whom you met with, both members of the serving staff, previous members of the staff who may or may not be interested in coming in having an engaged conversation with us about returning or not, the human rights leaders and the people around us were deeply impressed by your commitment to hear them, to interact with them in very serious ways. And I might just say for the colleagues, from the moment the governors landed into Domodedovo until they left 3.5 days later, it was constant conversation and discussion and outreach and contact in the most profoundly important way. And I think it was enormously important, both to our own people, but to also the people who feel and know that the future is a very complicated future. So thank you so much.